Alright, if we are all honest with ourselves, we have been in our way when we wanted to create content and wanted to create videos and make a new YouTube channel. And that is actually the reason why I started making these vlogs about filmmaking, about creating a channel. And maybe I'm talking a little bit also to myself because I'm victim of this myself as well, to kind of block myself creating videos, because we or many of new creators kind of block themselves by telling themselves, oh, I need a better camera and then I will make this, or I need this piece of equipment and then I will start making videos. Furthermore, we have this big imagination about how the video should look like, and then we kind of talk ourselves out of making those videos. And that is definitely something that I want to talk about in this video. I see it so many times with people around me that want to make a YouTube channel, want to make videos, but kind of block themselves, as I just previously mentioned, and I'm victim to that myself as well in the beginning. We want to have that big camera, that camera lens, or that big light to make a video, and then suddenly we have that gear and that gear is just laying around and we don't make videos. And as I said, I've seen that with a couple of people around, and it is a shame that they have so much great equipment and then they don't make videos. And that is basically what I want to talk about also to myself with making these videos. It's just about hitting the record switch, then telling a story or making a video. And obviously you want to improve over time and make better videos, but in the beginning, when your channel isn't that big, it's all about practice and getting into the habit of making videos. And that's what these videos are all about. I try to make as many of these talking vlogs as possible, and in this case I will make a point of only editing it but not record any b-roll. This is all about kind of making a point that you should make as many videos as possible to improve what you want to make, improve talking to the camera. That is the most difficult part in the beginning when you start a YouTube channel. Getting into what you want to tell, getting into how you want to tell the story or what you want to communicate, and more importantly, get into a routine, into the habit of making these videos, and not kind of block yourself and talking yourself out of making videos just because you don't have a camera. You can totally film with a phone, you just need to take care of the audio. If you don't have a mic, talk as close as possible in a quiet room to your phone and just get into the habit of making videos. More importantly, talking in front of the camera. It is so difficult talking in front of the camera in the beginning. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That is also something that many people are talking themselves out of making videos. You think about these big videos that you want to make and kind of simulate what bigger creators are making, and then you are afraid of making mistakes because you want to make this big video. But truth to be told, in the beginning, not that many people will watch your video, and therefore you are allowed to make mistakes, to experiment and finding your voice and finding the content that you want to make. But if you are always set on this big video and you are set on having the most expensive or the best equipment as possible to make that video, honestly, chances are pretty high that you are not going to make that video. So just make the videos in the beginning as simple as possible. Don't block yourself with wanting the best equipment. Usually you also need to try to figure out what you actually need. For example, as I mentioned in my previous video, in the past I bought these big cameras and I found out that I was way too lazy to carry that equipment around, and more importantly, it was hindering me to film outside because I was so subconscious about other people noticing that I'm filming myself. Which is why I bought the DJI Pocket 3, and that was a game changer for me because I was able to film in many places where people are around without feeling awkward in a sense. That is why I'm really recommending to just film with your phone in the beginning and not go all in and buying the big DSLR or mirrorless camera to film yourself just because you think that is the best way to start. The best way to start is to just start with whatever you have available, practicing, going into filmmaking or making these videos. As I said before, finding what you want to talk about, how you want to talk about, practice talking in front of the camera because that is so difficult in the beginning, and getting into a routine of making videos. By that I mean talking in front of the camera, that is the first step, but then getting into a habit of recording B-roll, matching that B-roll to whatever you're saying. That is an art by itself that you will need to get into, because many people forget that it's not about telling your story but showing it. So show, don't tell. And then kind of matching your brain and thinking about what have I been saying and what kind of B-roll matches that, what I've been saying. That is something that you will need to get into. That is a habit, that is a thought process that you will develop over time when you're making these videos. So practice, practice, practice. Make them as simple as possible so you are able to make as many videos as possible and get into the habit of making these. And that is my tip, and hopefully helping you to kind of get over this feeling of I need to buy the biggest gear, I need to have the biggest idea of a video. Obviously that is something that you want to strive to, but in the beginning don't do that, in my humble opinion. Start with the simplest setup, start with the simplest idea, and just start and allow yourself to make mistakes. Alright, that was it for this short vlog. I hope you liked it. Maybe check out my previous video up here where I talked about finding your niche, and YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. Thank you very much.